Welcome in to the Meltdown, presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver's studio. I am Tim Melton. We're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Appreciate you being here for day 3 of the show. A little bit more of a somber show today, especially for me. I lost my dad yesterday, Charlie Melton. He was a dedicated man, dedicated to my mom. They recently celebrated 53 years of marriage together this past October. He was dedicated to our country, having served in Vietnam and participated in the Tet Offensive. He was dedicated to our home city of Birmingham, Alabama, having solved a number of homicide cases alongside his detective partner, Morgan Knight. And even after all of these years, they still have quite the reputation for the way they were able to get the job done from the ground up. They were a great team and both impacted and saved countless lives with their work. My father eventually, with the disability that he developed at the hands of Agent Orange, which was the most extensively used herbicide in Vietnam, had to turn over his badge as chief of police in Graysville. And you know what? He could have given up right then, and I wouldn't have blamed him, having lost his professional identity, but he did not. And he did what he had to do to secure his retirement and provide for our family. And he never let the stress of his work affect me directly. He fought for victims of crime and their families, and he fought for our family until he no longer could. We didn't have the traditional father-son, let's go play catch in the front yard sort of relationship. His physical limitations prevented us from having that lifestyle. He became obsessed with the newspaper and radio and television news. They spoke his language. And they covered his world of street crime and global conflict. That's what he was interested in staying a part of, learning about, trying to solve cases. That's how his mind worked. It's what he knew best. It was definitely his communication style as well. Art was never an escape for my dad like it is for so many, and the things that he witnessed were rarely, if ever, discussed. My mother is the one who loves music. My dad couldn't carry a tune. But my father knew that I loved film, video games, and music, and he always supported my passion for those mediums. I could always pick the rental from the video store that weekend with no argument. He trusted me with that duty. He drove me to the nearest theater in our area that was about 40 minutes away and would drop me off for double or triple features every few weekends. I would actually do my homework that I had for the weekend in between showtimes. And while he didn't love movies, he literally helped fuel my love of them by bringing me to them without a single complaint. He always was right back there at the theater ready to pick me up. When I started driving, I took him to go see the movie Cars, and it felt like a movie that he could enjoy without feeling too much stress. It was a great day, and while he enjoyed it at the time, stepping into my world, my dad wasn't the type to reminisce about story-driven content. He had to get back to the news. So that's why I went into broadcast journalism. You know, if I could make it in one of those 3 avenues, either print or television or radio, then I felt like we could connect in a way that we'd never been able to before. So in that same semester of college, I interned at ABC 3340 here in Birmingham, where his favorite local TV anchor worked, who was Pam Huff. Sorry, Jim Dunaway, you were a close second. I became a senior staff writer and editor for UAB's Kaleidoscope newspaper, and I got my first job in radio, working with Dad's and also my favorite play-by-play man ever in Eli Gold. My dad was the type that would turn the TV down and try and sync up Eli's voice with the TV. Eli recommended that I get a special kind of radio that has a delay so you can set the device itself up with his play-by-play. And we bought one, and my dad loved using that on Crimson Tide game days. Eli was such an important voice in our household and so important to my early career growth, and I wish him the very best with his next chapter. I met John Lunsford, who is my co-host of this show in the radio world at the time. He's been my Morgan Knight. We've developed a reputation of getting the job done from the ground up. We've made a great team. And it started with a silly little show that we called the Midnight Meltdown. And we did it twice a week from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then later 9 p.m. to midnight. It's my favorite project that I've ever done. I've spent 13 years trying to get back to it. And my dad has, with no exaggeration. Listen to all of it. 13 years. And I'll miss him. I know that he's proud of us reuniting and getting a chance to do this. And I know for a fact that John and our boss Reed would have given me the day if I'd asked for it. Maybe I should have. Who knows? But I wanted and needed to be here today doing this job that my dad loved me doing the most. In a way, it is most fitting to honor him by being here. So, with that, there have been hundreds and hundreds of messages that have come in on social media. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls. I will return each and every one of those, I promise you. But I'd like to thank John Lunsford, Rockstar, who's here with us in studio today, and Tyler for being here. And at the risk of being totally jarring, I'd really like to try to have as normal of a show today as possible and get to do what I'm so excited about doing and building alongside all of you and with you that are watching and listening.